Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning. Dave Petzo joining us, the Petzo Center, Petzo Financial. Back from the holidays. Any traveling that you did at all?
No, hung out in town. It was kind of an unusual Thanksgiving for me. I like to hit the road on these long holidays. It just, I don't know. I do.
Now, why do you like to hit the road? And I understand traveling and seeing people and all that, but it almost seems like you have to go through the non-holiday spirit to get to the holiday spirit, right?
Well, when you hang around, you feel like you have to go do the shopping and do those kinds of things, right? And you do to a degree. You might as well get it done. And discovered the pain of that as I drove around the mall, and you can't find a parking place. But that was also at the same time, I just turned around and left, and then and thought, that's really a good sign of the economy, is that the mall is packed. I mean, packed.
No, I'm with you, but whether it's shopping at the mall or going to the airport, we all have to go somewhere because we've got to go, enjoy the holiday spirit. But when you travel a lot, people are grumpy.
Yep.
People get into arguments. I had a friend of mine who traveled over the weekend, and he's one of these millennials. So he was sending updates about people getting into arguments on the plane. Now, you're in these cramped, confined spaces to begin with. And it always amazes me that, we have these good intentions, but nobody seems to share that holiday spirit when you're at the airport, when you're fighting for that last rental car, or when you're in line to go through the TSA.
It's true. I remember, you just think about all the busyness that's running around out there. Kevin, I don't know. It is one of those funny things that you're talking about, because it's something I think about a lot, and I don't know why. I'm just stuck on something. And
sure.
It's just, we have such an easy life compared to all of human history. We have a really easy life. I mean, and to complain about
Now,
travel.
wait a minute. This is a Petzoism.
Yeah, it is.
You talk about this on Money Matters quite a bit.
I do.
Yes, I'm sorry. So I just had to self-identify for you. I apologize. Please continue. Yes.
Okay. But you bring up in this holiday spirit, and people are on an airplane, they're going to go see their parents or whoever it is, and it's this giant, it's just such a rush. And we just don't stop to say, wow, how amazingly blessed we are to live in this time, to live in America. And we just find so many things that are wrong in our lives. We convince ourselves how hard it is. And I get it. I don't like the rush and bumping into people and all those things, standing in line. But the reality is what an incredible thing to be able to fly, to afford to fly, to be able to go and take the time to go see family or whatever it is you're off doing. But there's something wrong with us. We get in arguments all the time on airplanes and things like that. I'm with you. Something's broken.
It is indeed. On one hand, you have the holiday spirit and the non-holiday spirit on the other end. Dave Petzo joining us. So I'm going to out you here, if you don't mind.
Uh-oh.
It was nice to see you at the Boise Rescue Mission celebration, their Thanksgiving celebration at the Cathedral of the Rockies. It was great. And last year, you were there with Mike Miniger, and Mike Miniger's Auto Body. He always has something smart to say, so he was doing color commentary. So this year, I'm looking for you, and there I see you. They put you to work serving food next to the governor-elect. And then I turn back again, and you're serving food with Brian Harsin, the coach of the Broncos, and I'm going, man, this is high company here. But It shows that not only are you giving back, but these other good guys are.
Exactly. No, and I enjoyed that very much. As you saw there, it wasn't this. We had a chance to visit a little bit.
Sure.
So it was really great to hear the governor excited. He was off to go to. His committee meetings to figure out who was going to be on his staff.
Have you been recruited yet? The governor?
I have not, but I told him, and
you were ready.
I said I would be happy to help in any way I could if there was anything that there was there. Not as I don't want to be on his, not full time. I couldn't. I don't think I want to take the pay cut. But I would love to help the governor out in any way that I could.
Did you tell him that we have a lot of suggestions for him on Monday morning?
I'm sure he's taking notes. Yeah, I'm sure he has been. Yeah, he doesn't need a lot of help. I was just really thought it was great to hear how focused he was. He was excited, and he's making some changes, and I'm very happy about that. I like to see people come in with new ideas. I'm not sure it's going to be Butch Part 2. I think he's his own man. He's got some of his own ideas. And we'll see. We'll see. But he's ready to go. I was excited about that, and I gave Coach a couple of plays. You saw how that worked. That was good.
That huge pass from Rippon to whoever. I was going to ask you if you gave Harsin any suggestions, but what is that like when you're there? And by the way, our great friend Dave Petzo joining us here, talking about his time at the Boise Rescue Mission, the Cathedral of the Rockies, where you have people coming in, getting food. You have the ubiquitous Mark Johnson from Channel 7, Larry Gebert there, the Boise State Broncos, and instead of talking football, they're singing Christmas carols. They're serving the homeless. Mm-hmm. What's it like for people listening right now that have never been, that have heard about your charitable works that you don't like to talk about, but we will, Miller's Mission and others, that, all volunteer efforts, and instead of talking about serious issues, just serving the basic human element of food.
Yeah, it is. I first of all, I think everybody should do it, because even though the reality is we tend to do this once a year, right? If people go and they get part of their office and they go out and they go do something somewhere, and then they don't the rest of the year, and people can be really sarcastic, snarky about that, but the reality is it teaches us to give, and the more you do it, the more you feel compelled, but I don't want to say compelled. That's not the right word. You desire to do it. It does. It's one of those things. We are truly blessed to give more than receive, but until you do it, you don't really realize that. It's a nice little thing you learn in school, but it's really not true until you live it. And when you live it, Kevin, you live it all the time. You give back to especially the rescue mission, tremendously. And I'm going to speak for both of us. You can't possibly do that and not feel great and not have it bless you.
I would agree. Dave Petzo joining us, talking a little bit about the Boise Rescue Mission and his time there. So I've got a few questions for you. Certainly, are we going to have a bruising November like we had a bruising October? Now, I'm not gloating here.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Oh, no.
You've been waiting 8 years since you got here.
It's like when we had the Broncos. Every week I would pick against them, and every week they would win. But we talk about this economy. It's been a rocky road, but there still are a great many victories.
There are. The economy's doing really well, Kevin, and you and I both know. I sit here and try to fixate, if you will, and teach that we need to worry about the fundamentals, not the noise. It is a very noisy world, and when we have corrections, they are normal. And they can come out of the blue, and they can come out for no reason at all. And all we really do is there's a correction that happens, and then we wet our finger, put it in the air, and say, the wind is blowing that way. So it must have been, it's a trade thing, or it's a Federal Reserve raising rates, or the economy slowing down somewhere. The reality is the economy's not. If it's slowing down, it's the tiniest of slow. The economy, nobody thinks the economy is in recession or going to be anytime soon. So these types of corrections happen, and we're now getting some resolution in Europe. It looks like the old Brexit thing seems to be working out. Maybe we get some global growth. There clearly is a problem with global growth, and that is a truly concerning thing to global businesses. But it's more of a slowdown than it is a retreat. But I understand the concern, and I also think we're winning the trade war on China, but it won't go away overnight, and this has to be done. It's not a question of Trump starting a trade war. He has the courage to start a war with with what is clearly an arch enemy. They steal everything. They steal technology. They want to be a superpower in the world. They're a nuclear power, and they just don't operate by the same rules. They're just simply crooks, and we have to stop them, and that's what we're doing.
How do we do that, though, Dave Petzo? Because for years we've discussed this, and we've had, the Chinese have a great influence in Idaho. We have a trade office there.
Yep.
Big influence here. So on one hand, you have the Rockefeller wing. Let's negotiate. Let's get these guys together. And the more they see we're partners, the more reforms they'll have, which hasn't happened. And now, thanks to President Trump, he's outed them.
Yep.
But you still have a lot of, we'll just say in Idaho, a lot of Chinese interests, sir.
Yeah, we do, and you're right, and we do in all kinds of businesses. Apple certainly does, and at the same time, they want protections against their intellectual property as well. I think you're seeing some changes I hope we're seeing some serious changes in Silicon Valley, where they have this, we pretend to be nice, we pretend to be kind, and then you have Google that says, we're not going to help the U.S. military, but we're going to help China spy on their own people. I mean, what the heck is the matter with these people? I mean, how moronic is that? How, if you will, hypocritical that is. I mean, do they just hate America and they love China? It just doesn't make any sense. And so we're starting to see some changes and pushback there where they're not liking the idea that China is stealing their technology. And we're seeing Apple work very closely. Tim Cook is in the White House a lot, works closely with the president on I'm sure, Chinese matters amongst many other things. So it is, I think we're getting more cooperation out of Silicon Valley. That seems to be the shift, if you will. That is a big shift. If the Chinese do not have help developing their technology, then they will acquiesce to the United States demands.
On the other hand, though, and by the way, you're listening to 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. It doesn't look good for Zuckerberg. The cover of Wired magazine has Zuckerberg beaten up in the face.
Yep.
Because of, again, further revelations of what's really happening.
Yep.
With the Silicon Valley people and how they're controlling things.
Correct. They got caught with their pants down. Now they're having to back up and say, oh, no, we're really not. No, we really have a whole lot of people from the right. No, they don't. And now they're admitting they're not. They don't. And they need more diversity. They need some of those dumb people in flyover country like you and I.
But do they really, with all due respect, because you could say, playing devil's advocate, that it's their business. They can do whatever they want. And if you don't want to play, you don't have to be on Facebook.
Yeah.
I agree with you. However, can't they use that argument that, it's a privilege, not a right to be on Facebook?
I completely agree with you, and I don't have anything, however people use whatever data I put on Facebook, which is zero. That is my fault for showing pictures of me at a bachelor's party or something. You know what I'm saying? That people are just ridiculously dumb about those things, and I don't care, and I don't post. But when people do, I agree with you, Kevin. But when you also go out there and you are actively promoting people of a certain kind, that violates all laws. It's like saying, I want only conservative white guys working for me. I can't do that. I can't do that. Even though it's my business, I can't do that. I can't say because you're a liberal or you're a female or you're black or you're Hispanic, I won't hire you. I'm not allowed to do that, and they are not allowed to do it either. And that's exactly what's been happening there, and not allowing any kind of conservative viewpoints, even to the point where people walk out of their offices and get all upset because somebody was at one of Facebook's people was at Kavanaugh's hearing.
More coming up with Dave Petzo next. You're listening to 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. And once again, Kevin Miller with Dave Petzo. By the way, now your segment getting critiqued by Jeff the Suit. He's in here watching you.
I like it. I asked him, actually, for some feedback
and
when we were out there
and
at
we have
Miller's
Jeff
Mission.
the Suit. He wants to be on the mic here, Ray, just to make sure we're good to go here. Jeff the Suit joining us.
Well, suddenly
now.
I need to critique you, critiquing me, critiquing him. I hadn't started any critique. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's always good to
a little drama on the Monday.
Make sure that the people know what's really going
Bring in
on.
the tension here,
Thank
Kevin
you.
Miller. Okay, good.
Just give me a heads up.
You see, and he's dressed up as a holiday elf. So
it's cheery.
You see, we got to be happy now, Dave Petzo. So I know you're happy about the economy. One thing that I do want to ask you about, there's been several articles in the paper about this uncensored, unfiltered, unmitigated growth going on in the Treasure Valley. Winco wants into Meridian.
Yep.
They're coming into Meridian. Costco, your beloved Costco.
Yes.
Not only is Boise and Nampa not enough for them, they want in Meridian. Never mind the residents say, Chinden isn't good, Linder isn't good. We need to expand. We need to go to 4 lanes. But by gosh, these developers are coming in.
They are.
Now, our old friend Dr. Ahlquist will say I'm the angry old man again, the grumpy old man about developing and stuff. But, I mean, where is the common sense when it comes to infrastructure before industry?
You can't have one without the other. You can't have growth. You're not going to put in infrastructure if you're not getting growth. And it just can't keep out ahead when we have this kind of growth. You can't. And so we are going to chase it. It's disappointing, for example, that we spent, however many thousand hours redoing Americana Boulevard for a bike lane when we have major projects everywhere and that don't get done. I know, we can all pick on the ones that make no sense to us, but I do think we have to prioritize widening the roads and getting those kinds of projects done, because it just is really an impediment for the people that live out that way. It's not going to be a big deal to me. As you know, I try to avoid what I call the middle of hell, Eagle Road. And places like that, I try to avoid them, and I don't live there, and so I don't have to go there, at least during traffic times. But I really empathize with what you're saying, Kevin. We have terrible north-south in our valley, and now we're clogging up east-west because we can't. We have roads like Shinden that go down to 2 lanes from 4. That's crazy, and we really need to be working on that, not bike lanes on Americana Boulevard.
Indeed, it all comes down to priorities. And when we take a look at the area itself growing or not so growing, we still have that fear that we could have cul-de-sacs that are empty because of the massive amount of building going on. And with interest rates going up, doesn't that slow home growth?
Yeah, we hope so a little bit, because what it really says when interest rates are going up to a more normal level, Kevin, is that we're getting back to normal. We're not at a place where we have to have artificially low rates or the economy will die. This is all good news, even though, as you point out, it does make buying a home, buying anything on a mortgage or a loan is going to be more expensive. It is, and that's just the definition of what happens when things get better, but we are still at historic low rates. So the answer is no. Rates can go a lot higher than they are now and still not really slow it down much.
More with Dave Petzo coming up next. 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio.
Eric Everett.
And more with Dave Petzo, Kevin Miller here. This just in from Entrepreneur Magazine / The Penny Hoarder. You ever heard of The Penny Hoarder?
No.
It's a big, credible publication. We have to thank Mrs. Miller for this one. Building a small business. We found the 10 best cities for entrepreneurs, and Boise, Idaho, otherwise known as the Treasure Valley for the real people, is one of them. The capital of Idaho joins our list with a 12% change in small businesses between 2004 and 2014. Boise has the lowest unemployment rate of the cities on our list, well below the national average of 3.7. Isn't that amazing? First of all, the national average is 3.7.
It's incredible. You stop and think about that. It really is.
It is. Now, when we take a look at, is this a great place for small business?
I think it is, because of the lifestyle, and small business gets to choose their lifestyle, and that's why it's such a great place. Think about it this way, Kevin. When you are working for a corporation, you have a whole bunch of rules that have to apply sometimes to multiple locations. So you're talking about different cultures, all those things. So the rule book gets fat, right? With small business, it's not so much. And if I decide I want to leave at 4 o'clock, but I want to get there at 6 in the morning, I can have a business that caters to that. You can design, and by having that kind of lifestyle, wilderness. I was looking at the mountains last night, and I don't mean to, get too much into it, but sitting up there, looking back at the foothills, and you just realize how amazing the opportunities for recreation are here.
Let's not get too touchy-feely here.
Okay, all right.
Because I can remember a Dave Petzo back in the old days, the old Dave Petzo, the old Kevin Miller, where we would opine about the state government not helping Idaho-based businesses. Remember before Governor Otter repealed the, where you couldn't write off things through depreciation and stuff, and I guess they solved that issue.
The chair and table tax.
You love that, yes.
I love that.
I didn't want to get too specific, but yes. So when we take a look at our state government, they can bring in Chobani, they can bring in Cliff Bars, but are they Petzo friendly? Now, I know you were just serving with Brad Little, so I don't want to get you in trouble, but is our state government and even your beloved city of Boise government friendly to small business?
No, they're not. They're not. There isn't anything there. No, you're right. There's not. There's nothing there. It's lifestyle. It's what Idaho gives. The government gets to take credit for that. And they shouldn't. We don't have a low tax rate here. We have a high tax rate. We don't have anything more than it's easy for a medium-sized business to get, we don't have a lot of stupid rules, okay? I would agree with that. So all the red tape is lower in Idaho. That's great, and that's great for small business particularly, okay? So I'm not saying that they should do a lot, but to act like that we have a really great environment that attracts small business is because God blessed Idaho with amazing beauty and a fairly conservative people that live here and haven't ruined it yet.
Well, you got all the libs moving in.
Well, that's true, and that's why I said yet. They haven't ruined it yet. You know what? They ruined California. California was not a basket case
Right.
30 years ago.
Well, I know you go to Seattle. That place is bad, too.
It never used to be.
Horrible place. Horrible place.
Never used to be.
Finally,
Yes.
people have been pitching cannabis stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on one hand, you could think there are a lot of dope smokers that are breaking the law, and you should make money off them because the cannabis stocks seem to be going up, up, and up. However, you take a look at it's against federal law. Hopefully, the president and the new attorney general will strike this down. Some people say that Idaho eventually will legalize this. I don't know if it's a moral issue, it's an ethical issue, it's a fiscal issue. Your thoughts on that? Because you have a lot of people promoting buying stock in these cannabis places, even though it's amazing that the place where it's legal, they have to have these cash drops.
We do.
Because I guess banks won't accept the
Banks
money.
can't. They
Right.
can't bank. Yeah. Everything's cash.
Right.
It's a really weird business. It's like, yeah. And also the people that run these businesses, let's bear in mind, they just became legal. So who's running these businesses? Former crooks. Is that who you want to give your money to? I'm serious about that.
Not me.
It is absolutely makes no sense at all. The second part is that I think let's separate out, because my opinion about cannabis is like everybody else. They have one, okay? And whether it's legal or not.
Right.
But my point here financially is to say, look, the computer was kind of a big deal, way bigger than pot is ever going to be, okay? To changing in society, how much money it makes and all that stuff. The people who invented the computer all went out of business. All of them. We don't have a Commodore computer anymore.
I miss it.
Right? College is gone. All of those companies are gone. Apple had to reinvent itself completely with an iPod to even survive as one of the early computer companies. What I'm saying is, just because you are early on in an industry that basically grows a weed, it's not hard to do. It's just not hard to do. You put up some barbed wire around it, and you're off and going. And each state has their own rules, and they can't go across. So it is a very difficult thing to do. My guess is it's not going to be Bitcoin because it actually is real. Bitcoin's not. But it's going to be like Bitcoin. It's a thing, and then it's going to flame out, and it's not going to be a big deal. There's going to be a lot of companies out there that have the distribution in the long run if they can figure out the laws. That'll be Coca-Cola. It's going to be companies like that, right? And that's why they're the ones that are in there buying these distributors,
right? Because
they're going to be infusing it in whatever, and that you have to be able to distribute it, not just make it.
Well, pot-infused cola, who would have thought?
If you can get high on whatever, don't you think people are going to do it?
I will just say this. This is an unsolicited endorsement. What I get high on is the new cheeseburger pizza at Papa John's. Amazing. I'm telling you.
Really?
It's indescribable.
It sounds absolutely
I'm telling you.
deadly.
No, it's the best ever. Anyway, Dave Petso, thank you very much.
Kevin, thank you.
You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin.
And we're going to take a break from Obama and the border, at least for a minute. Joining us now, our great friend Jeff the Suit, but you know him as Jeff Connell on Light FM and Mix 106, 105.9 FM. We lovingly call him Jeff the Suit, but he is a dear friend of mine, a mentor, and he is my boss per my employment contract by name specified in that deal. Good morning, sir.
I don't know if we lovingly call me that. You certainly do, but yeah.
Well,
I don't know if we.
When the folks see you on the street.
It is interesting, and I know what station they've experienced me from by what they call me, because when we were out at Miller's Mission, it was, oh, you're Jeff the Suit? I want to talk to you about it. And then in we went. So, yes.
They go, where's the suit?
Right. Well, that's a big disappointment. If you've ever met me in person, the odds that you've seen me in a suit are probably 99 to 1.
And you go to other places, not just around the KIDO Talk Radio audience, but you go other places and they say you're Jeff the Suit.
I've heard that now a few times. I think it's beginning to catch on, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. So good times. Thanks for that.
Well, you're quite welcome, sir. We're always following your direction.
Sure.
And, Miller's Mission was a great success this year, thanks to our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission, our partners KTSY, the people at Town Square Media, Team Mazda Subaru, Boise Rescue Mission Camping World, Walmart. But I always want to thank you because you have such an overall impact on this and directing me on how to figure this out. And I would be negligent if I didn't thank you for helping us take this to the next level. And when you always talk about this, you always say it has to come from the heart. You have to let your heart show. And that's why we have you here today, sir.
Well, thanks, man. I don't think it's actually anything I do, and it's my favorite time of the year because we get to do these type of things, and we try and do as many as we can over all of our town square stations. But I mean, also the KIDO Talk Radio audience is incredible about when there's an opportunity to give, always coming through, and maybe even more so than some of our other stations at times. So watching what happens in Miller's Mission is incredible. But I do firmly believe it has to come from the heart. People know when you're genuine about a need that you care about communicating, and so I appreciate that you're letting me share about another need on one of our sister stations.
Well, I do that because, A, it's a great cause, but I do that because I see how much you put into this. And I can remember your first year here.
Yeah.
You physically granting all these wishes through the folks at Light FM, but you were in the van driving around. I actually got to do a Christmas wish delivery with you.
Yeah, I remember it.
And it really transforms the community. We hear so much about radio making a difference.
Yeah.
But what you do and your staff on Light FM, what they do really does make a difference.
Well, so it's a great program. Christmas Wish is on our Christmas station, so 107.9. If you want Christmas music, that's the place. It makes sense to do this Wish program. And Christmas Wish ends up granting between 50 and 75 wishes every year. And what we say is it's a hand up, not a handout. And that really is what it comes down to. A lot of times it's just giving someone a little bit of hope. The nominations that we get can range from, we have a terminal parent in our family, and this will be their last Christmas, to, we've had a medical situation. In fact, the one I just got back from our first wish of this year, and the husband had a heart attack while driving home from work and has ended up with heart disease and a heart situation where he can no longer work. He has a defibrillator now built into his body, so it's the internal, that actually just saved his life last week when he had another heart attack while he was home, and that brought him back. So that's, caused their family all sorts of havoc. For most of us, we could be one big medical crisis away from being in a position we never thought we'd be. And so the power of this program is we find out about it from community members. People just like you give. It's $25. It's $50. Some people do $500 because they can. But it's this grassroots thing, same as Miller's Mission. And then we get to put some amazing stories together and go surprise people with a little bit of hope.
Yeah, but you're crazy about this. I mean, sometimes you're out here with the parking for the Bronco games. I mean, people come over and they'll pay $10 and that money, when you're allowed to do it, goes to Christmas Wish. I mean,
absolutely.
There's a lot of sacrifice that goes on for that.
There is, and it's really, it's not just us. In fact, I'd say on the Wish team, we end up doing the least because you have people who are living really tight financially, but say, I want to give and support this. You have people who take the time to send us a note about someone they know, and I've got a bunch of volunteers on our team here that help me vet wishes and call people and make sure that we got things lined up. And we've got some angel donors in our community, too, that do car repair or send appliances out. We have a heating and cooling company that's put in new furnaces, but they just don't want to get the pat on the back because they want to do it because it's their heart to give.
That is refreshing in the world we live in today.
It's awesome.
What's it like for you, though? Because I've been on one among your many, and I just saw the impact of the people, and it was really just a bouquet of flowers and some gift cards and everything else. But it doesn't have to be huge. It could be just something as simple as a gift card.
We talked about this during Miller's Mission. I remember you and I were discussing this one morning. It moves me deeply. It is my favorite thing we do every year. I'm not a big emotionally dynamic person, and I'll cry in the car after we do a delivery to a family that what you see is that they either worried that they might be invisible, or they worried that maybe they'd asked for help too much and they didn't want to go back to the well and ask people one more time. And so this small thing, again, we're not fixing any of these problems. And I've shown up I've been thinking about one of the families where the mom was dying of cancer, and we took her a GoPro camera so that she could shoot messages for the kids, and then a stay at a hotel so she and her husband could go away downtown for the weekend and have a really emotional time, filming all these messages it gets me choked up. Filming a lifetime of messages because she won't be there in person. And so we gave them this weekend to do it. And then gave them some family activities and a family photo session and just what we could do to make their last Christmas a little more special. And we can't take away the reality that's coming. We can't change how hard it's been. But we did have a chance to show up and wish them well and give them a little moment of peace and of hope and let her kind of think about the future for her kids, which I think when you meet people who are dying, they're almost afraid to enter that mind space, and they just kind of get through the day. And that is what it means, is that you get to walk in and be a part of somebody's future even when they're going to be leaving sooner.
What a lasting legacy.
We're lucky to get to do it, man. It's the best thing we do all year. It's my favorite thing we do all year. I'm really fortunate to get to play this role.
Indeed. If people would like to help, is it too late to help?
Not at all. In fact, right up to Christmas, we'll be doing it. You can donate at any Pioneer Federal Credit Union, or you can go to lightonline.com. That's a Light FM website, lightonline.com. You can give online or at any Pioneer Federal Credit Union.
And you play the Christmas music there.
We do that Christmas stuff. And one other thanks to friends of ours on both stations, the guys at Team Subaru in Nampa have given us our delivery sleigh this year so that we can drive with a little more dependability than the mighty van. So big thanks to Rob and Aaron at Team.
Well, they're friends of ours here.
That's why I felt safe to share that.
Well, now, the Christmas music.
Yes.
I've asked you for years to play a request on that
Are
station.
you going to reveal your awful Christmas music taste?
I love that Glee Last Christmas. That's my favorite song.
You were so embarrassed to talk about that the first year.
Was
You
I?
told me secretly in my office.
Really?
And yes. And then you became loud and proud in the hallway. I don't know what switch was flipped in you, but you were like Mr. Glee from then on. So it's good.
Yes. Mr. Conservative, Mr. Glee.
Yeah, Mr.
Yes.
Glee. I've always said Kevin Miller, Mr. Glee.
Yes.
Yes.
But by the way, if people want Christmas music, that is, for years and years, another great legacy in the Treasure Valley.
Yeah,
Light
and
FM.
you know what? As curmudgeon-y and Scroogey as you and I have been accused of being at times, we do need a little Christmas right this very minute. So, there you go.
Well, not this very
Not
minute.
this minute, but
Yes. All right.
Thanks, man.
Anyway, that website one more time, Jeff, please.
Light, L-I-T-E, online.com, lightonline.com.
Now, again, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for believing in this. A lot of people don't understand. We joke a lot, but you are very crucial to the continued evolution of this product. I give you a hard time on the air, but as you know, that is how I show my affection. I'm very blessed that you understand that. But thank you for allowing Ray Amaya and myself to continue on with this project. 107.5 FM, KIDO Talk Radio, you came up with that name.
I'm proud of all the growth on this station. I'm proud of what you guys do every day. And, our secret's out, I guess. We're actually a pretty good team. And we actually like each other.
Well, per my employment contract, my
That's right. If that language wasn't in there, it'd be different. But yeah.
You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning. I think it was Christmas time right after Halloween. And now it's after Thanksgiving. It's Cyber Monday, Cyber Tuesday, cyber this, cyber that. I love how people, and maybe they're using Facebook as well, but they're sending you these automated personal emails. Hey, Kevin, did you know that it's buy local Saturday? It's cyber this. It's all those sorts of things. But at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, we go to this time of the year. And we were talking about this earlier with Dave Petzo, and we do want to thank Jeff the Suit for joining us, talking about the real spirit of the season. Do we really get it? Take a look at what's going on in Washington. You have the Democrats salivating, the libs, led by Adam Schiff, and all those others, Nancy Pelosi, and we could go on and on. It's funny, I could go, we could talk a little bit more about them, but they're salivating at shutting down the government. You heard from Sean Hannity, if you missed it, the Sean Hannity Morning Minute, where he's saying it's going to be a wild and rocky 2 years. What's the impact it has on the American electorate? On one hand, we have the consumer confidence at the highest it's been since the Reagan Revolution. We have unemployment at its lowest rates, not the phony rates, the real rates at 3.7. People are working. And if you're into the stock market, life is good. Well, except for the last month. Everything is rolling. And yet you have people, Robert Mueller, getting ready to release his report. Alan Dershowitz saying it's going to be devastating. That's got to have an impact on things. And we have a First Amendment, but is it a fair amendment when we think about this in our great country today? There's some fine examples of outstanding local reporting. I always love to bring up this issue here. Walter Reed Medical Center. The Washington Post did an incredible investigative report. One of the more marvelous things that I've ever seen, where they documented how our returning war veterans were not getting the treatment that they deserved, even adequate treatment. And change happened. Not enough change, but change happened. That's real life reporting. What we have from the left today, advocacy reporting, where people are advocating for the migrants, the people coming into the country illegally to attack our U.S. citizens, to attack Border Patrol agents, to attack our military, to attack our president. That just doesn't seem fair. We do have a media, but it's not fair. And we're seeing that where people are openly cheering that the president gets impeached, openly cheering for others to do things to the president. I don't understand it. Do you? And can there be something done about the press? Well, we have talk radio, but local talk radio, it's endangered because the voice it gives to the people. I talk about it all the time with you. When you want opinion, when you want commentary, when you want something that's uncensored, that's us. But we're like a small business fighting for survival. I don't understand the media, but I understand their objective is to take down this administration. And if they had a 10th or a fourth of the coverage that they have on President Trump for President Obama, I wouldn't say anything because that would be fair. Case in point, Alan Dershowitz. Let's take a listen from ABC's This Week.
We've been working hard to strike these deals. You mentioned Corsi. Yes. That's Jerome Corsi, an associate of Roger Stone, perhaps could become a witness against Roger Stone.
Not a witness. Not a witness. Again, he's a guy who is a birther. He's a conspiracy theorist. He's not going to be a witness.
But if they have corroborating evidence to support his account.
As a defense attorney, I love when they put on people like Corsi and Manafort. Even when it's corroborated, they're so much better off not putting on these questionable witnesses and using their information to make the case without
let's stipulate that. Let's just talk about the information. So we're getting information from Paul Manafort. We're getting information perhaps from Corsi. We're already getting information from Gates, from Cohen, from Phil. That's an awful lot of people tied to the president providing evidence.
It is, and I think the report is going to be devastating to the president. And I know that the president's team is already working on a response to the report. And so at some point, when the report's made public, and that's a very hard question considering the new attorney general who has the authority to decide when and under what circumstance to make it public, it will be made public probably with a response alongside. The president will say, look, it's political. There's their account and there's our account, and then the American public will have to judge the credibility.
For you to say it's devastating is really something.
Well, but let's talk about...
So all Sunday long, that's what they were talking about. Oh, it's going to be devastating. Is it devastating in Idaho? Is it devastating to you? And the gentleman that I was trying to think of, watching liberal Chuck Todd on that liberal show, Meet the Press, here you have Senator Mike Lee, a distinguished senator from Utah, being interrupted. And then you have Representative Elijah Cummings from Maryland, allowed to just get away with all his innuendos. The issue here, my friends, is fairness. Do you believe that the media is fair? I do not. Maybe they're like Facebook. They don't have to be. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Traffic and weather together. And Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But that's really what it comes down to when we're looking at fairness in the media. And then the media gets a little upset, a little challenged when people say, something, where's the other side of the story? Where's the side of the story that talks about Kamala Harris? Where's the other side of the story when you're grilling Senator Mike Lee? Why aren't you grilling Elijah Cummings? Well, because the president gave them the Heisman, and nobody gives them the Heisman. So we're going to have 2 more years of endless battles with the House Democrats going back well before he was president, well into the 80s, investigating the president of the United States because they believe that the people want to know. I think most people, they want a job. Most people want a good education for their kids. Most people want a better life for their kids than they had. Wasn't that the American dream? And for years, we saw parents being so proud of their children because they lived a better life. We need to get back to that dream. And it's a very simple decision. Which leadership version do you believe would allow your children to live in a better, stronger, more powerful, more stable America? Hillary Clinton's America? Bernie Sanders' America? Barack Obama's America? George Bush's America? Or Donald Trump's America? That's really the choice you have. And we're going to see what happens when we have a Democratic House, when the usual suspects come in. Now, the president's fighting wars on many fronts. He's fighting with the media. He's fighting with the Republican Party establishment. He's fighting the Democrats. Who knows who else he's fighting? Now, a lot of it you'll say, well, Kevin, he fires it up, right? I get that. But I'd rather have a president that fired back instead of being fired upon and taking it. How did that work out for John McCain? How did that work out for Mitt Romney? Well, coming up, we'll have the latest on the Caravan. Plus, he's back. Our weekly chat with Lars Larson, exclusively on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.